I'm Eric Andersen. I'm a singer, songwriter, piano player, and composer. It started with the piano. I started when I was in orchestra. We were always tuning our violas and violins with the piano. And so one day I just sort of sat down at this beautiful instrument and was naturally very enticed by it, as I sort of can't imagine anybody wouldn't be. And then I just started playing some chords and sort of applying what I was learning in the orchestra. And I guess next thing I knew, I started by writing instrumental compositions. So that definitely preceded any lyrical stuff. So initially it was definitely melodies that came easiest. And I think that was because of my background in the orchestra. I was always comfortable with melodies. I was always composing melodies since I was a little kid. But now it actually could be both things. It could, in other words, it could be the lyrics as well, which now I'll just find myself on a walk and I'll come up with a lyrical idea, and sometimes it has a rhythmic component to it. And it doesn't even necessarily have a melody. And I never used to do that. So it just, I guess initially was more the melody that probably was more sort of innate, I guess, to me. But since then, I've kind of been able to approach songwriting from all kinds of different angles. And then there's, other components. I've gotten into writing music for television a little bit, which I would like to actually get into more, because that's really creative work. The first example of a framework that you presented is sort of the one that's sort of romanticized, and that's that you just are struck by inspiration. And that does happen, absolutely. And thank goodness for the iPhone. I don't know how anybody used to capture their inspiration before. I mean, I know how they did it. They used to actually use their memory, and they used to actually notate things. But I have literally thousands of iPhone memos of melodies. So, you are hit with inspiration when it comes, right? That said, I've gotten in the habit over the last couple years of actually setting away some days where I actually am just going to songwrite. And initially when you try that, it can be a scary undertaking because there's so much expectation built up, and you're like, well, what if I don't come up with anything, right? Well, when you have thousands of iPhone memos and you're used to being a creative person, you really do. I mean, there are some days where it seems like it's flowing very easily and it's almost sort of magical, and you're channeling something that's not coming from you, it's coming from another source. And then there are other days where it feels a little bit more like a struggle. But even in the days it feels like a struggle, songwriting, there's this right-brained, very creative side, and but there's also sort of a left-brain organizational form side of songwriting, where we were talking again off camera about like coming up with an idea. I wouldn't say anybody can come up with an idea, but most people have ideas here and there. But there does require some structure at some point where you have to say, okay, well, what's this going to be? Am I going to do anything with this? And sometimes you can actually kind of grind away a little bit more at finishing a song or working on the form of a song once you already have most of the lyrics or the melody, even if you don't feel particularly, struck with the creativity bug that day. What's interesting is that I used to be a night owl, and because I still perform gigs, right? I mean, it's still kind of just the nature of the beast. You're going to be up late. But I've really, over the last 2 or 3 years, found a lot of beauty in the experience of the morning. So my drink of choice is coffee. I love coffee. I was late to the party on coffee, good coffee. I just love it. And so a lot of my songwriting actually happens in the morning. It's like the first 3 or 4 hours in the morning. So I would say coffee. Really, and usually just black. Sometimes I'll have some cream or something like that, but no, I love it.